The greatest week of NRL fantasy trades in recent history. Round 7, NRL fantasy buy, hold, sell. I'm Longy. This is Biz, and we're here to talk you guys through it. But I'll tell you what, the news this week has been chaotic. And one of the big pieces of news, it's not fantasy related, but it helps us out. Biz, how you feeling about this bit of news?
Mitchell Moses, the king, he returns. We needed this badly. Another 50-point bashing last week. Look, I don't know what'll happen. I don't know if he really fixes too much, at least defensively, but he should give us a lot more direction. Good for players like Yongi, maybe some more attacking stats for guys like Hopgood, better for guys like Kartonga for sure. But look, a great week this week. We've got Mitchell Moses back, and if only Para could make 3 trades like we can this week, that would be really useful. But yeah, Alongi, are you going straight into it and using all three?
Mate, I'm tearing my team up here. 3 trades, 100%. So I'm fresh off a good score. 1,005 last week. Jumped into the top 1,000, rank about 700 there. I'm feeling great. Like it was 12,000 ranked 3 weeks ago, so the rise has been meteoric, and aggressive trading has been what's gotten me there. Now for this week, Dave Fafita is the first guy, and my view on this, and I don't throw this around lightly, is that he is the most slam dunk, obvious, must-have option. Again, I don't like to say must-have because sometimes they do burn you, but he is that must-have option. Now, Dave Fafita, historical average 62 in the back row when he plays 60 plus minutes, and it's a 64 at 70 plus minutes. So if you can lock down that role, he is absolutely value at 668k. Best second row in fantasy, and I see no reason why he can't do that. Scored in 92 last week. A lot of people bought him last week. They took a big gamble, but this week he has won that spot over Cleese Haas. So to me, it's a completely different scenario.
Yeah, not much to add. That's the big factor, right? That he wins the spot over Cleese Haas rather than for more replacing Jojo Fafita in the centres or something like that. So look, there's always a chance he could be a late move back to the bench. I'm really hoping not because he'll be in my team as soon as this podcast's over. I wasn't expecting him to be named starting this week over Cleese Haas, so I woke up to good news. But there's not much more to say.
You know what's rough though? He plays the Sunday game this week. So if you can, twist your trades around and sell someone who plays after him. So Tigers, Eels, so maybe Hopgood, for example. Tigers, Eels, Knights,
Yes,
Sharks, Titans, Raiders, one of those guys, Tamale
so
maybe to
fast.
him.
Yeah,
Yeah,
tomorrow
yeah,
so
yeah,
fast. Those guys. Yep.
yeah,
Terrell
yes.
May, maybe. No, I'm joking. Maybe that.
My God, no one do that. But yeah, try to twist your trades around so that you can reverse your trade if there is an issue. But overall, I think he's pretty safe this week. I think that performance last week will lock it in. Then Adam Dwayhe, interesting one here. So obviously, you've got the news with Lockie Galvin, who has told the Tigers 18 months in advance that he's going to leave the club. He's done them a big favor, in my view. I wish Dylan Brown did that for Parramatta because then we wouldn't have lost Sanders and Blaze. But that's neither here nor there. So he's done that, and then there's a lot of heat coming at him. Jerome Luai is sharing anime references that are seemingly attacking Galvin, and then Taruva's sharing photos of his locker with "Money, Money, Money" songs playing over them. Taruva paid for that phone with a 500k contract he took from the Tigers after leaving the Panthers, but I don't know, maybe I'm the only one seeing that contradiction. Taruva's obviously not paid to think; he's paid to play footy. But look, regardless, my hate for my love for Galvin, I'm feeling a bit protective because he might be coming to the Tigers. Regardless, though, if we take the
You
the
mean
bias
coming to the
narrative,
Eels?
so
He's going to
Eels,
be the Eels' 10-year half of the future.
man, I'm getting too excited here because we haven't had much to be
Jesus.
excited about.
I'm trying to calm you down.
Let's get back into fantasy though, where I am much more balanced. If you catch me on Parramatta, it's very emotional. But Dwayne is a historical 60 average, right? So he's an absolute monster. 484k is a massive discount. He can play center as well, which is absolutely crazy. So at 484k, you might be getting the best center in fantasy this year if you can lock down that spot. Now it's a limited window here, 4 to 6 weeks, while Latu Finu recovers from a thumb surgery. If he plays well enough, he'll lock down that spot. I don't think Finu is a guarantee at all to come back and take that spot. So the way I feel like he's a guy that I am a 0% chance of not buying. Like the upside is so hot, but there is risk too. So if you're a more conservative fantasy coach, you might want to wait a week because, as you mentioned before, we were chatting offline, Biz, that break even is pretty high.
Yeah, 50 break even, but he's got the Eels this week, so, and we all know how they're playing. So he could beat that, he could smash that, he could send that to the absolute earth and just go to the moon himself. So I think I'll be on him this week. I didn't, before all this controversy, I didn't expect this, but look, I think at 484k, I needed a half this week. Savala still has a high break even as well, so Dewey's a guy that we've seen historically get the job done. He loves to run the ball. He tackles pretty well. Offloader, tackle buster, goal kicker. And this was all in a Tigers side that was not very good, right? So this is now in a Tigers side that is quite good.
Mm.
Not super good, but quite good. And I think I'll get him in this week. So Fafita and Dwayne in.
Mm.
And then Jaden Campbell, the third one, like we talked about this offline too, but I just love how every single person at the casual athlete started with Campbell. The two of us, Fungi, Lockie, like all the production staff, all the editors, blah, 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 the whole crew have Jaden Campbell, and it's been a good ride for us. A bit bumpy here and there. He kind of does big score, smaller score, big score. But I think, look, he's brilliant in terms of we saw that he could average 55 last year solely off being a running 5'8". Now he's cut the running down a little bit, but he's also, he made 10 tackle busts last week, so he's kind of getting that back. And then 500 odd kick meters a game to boot. Like we said it in the preseason, Nicho Hynes of 2025, and he's proving us right. I don't think it's too late to buy him. The only potential knock is that Foreign coming back and Keeney being out could see De Groot out, Brimson to 1, Foreign to 6. And there's a bit of a kick meter share, but like I said at the start, that he still averaged 55 with Foreign last year. So Longy, like I'll put you in the shoes that you don't have Jaden Campbell, 780k. Are you buying him in this week?
The fact that he doesn't play Origin is probably the sway to yes, because at wing fullback, if they're a good wing fullback, they usually play Origin, right?
Yeah.
So I'm going to say yeah. If I didn't have Jaden Campbell, I'd probably be targeting him this week. That 77 in a loss is so encouraging. But the downside here is, like you said, Foreign might come back, and they've been losing games recently. Their attack hasn't looked the best. I think they would benefit. Like if I was the real world coach, I'd bring Foreign back 100% and play Brimson at
Yeah.
fullback, right? So that's not a great sign for fantasy because the coaches don't care about fantasy scores. They want to win games. So that is a risk, but 780k, we have money to spend. I think it's the year just to grab guys when you think they're hot, and I think Campbell's red hot right now, so I like him a lot.
Yeah.
Reece Walsh is on the other end of the spectrum, so I mean, 300k between these two guys. They were close to the same price to start the year. I know a few people who started with Walsh over Campbell, and they are very sad right now. But Reece Walsh, you jumped on last week, and you've only received 40 plus scores from him. I'm looking at it very closely this week. That Warriors matchup is red hot. But look, I'll throw to you, man. Do you feel better or worse about Walsh after buying him last week and seeing him have a pretty good performance?
Better. Like I think he's just improving. He's a gun player, right? He's 22 years old. He's going to improve. Broncos, 42 points in a bit of a beat up from the Roosters last week. Actually, I think he was 48, and then a couple of late negatives and a bit of a down date towards the end. I like what I was seeing. A lovely kind of try assist, try and support. A couple booming kicks off his left foot. 476k, he's priced at his bottom. Like even if he's a 30-point player this year, like you just paid you're just getting what you paid for. Like if he just scores 35 on average from here out, like that's fine with me. That's what I bought him at a 35 price. He's going to have a 70, 80 performance eventually. Even if he just does a 40, 40, 80, 40, 40, 80, like you'll kind of average in the mid 40s, right? And that's what I'm banking on. But I actually think like he's going to get on a hot run eventually, and you want to be on for that. I'm glad I got him last week because there's so many other good options this week that I wouldn't have been able to get him this week. So, I'm on the Walsh hype train. Let's hope he can crush his old team and get my ranks moving.
Yeah, mate, he's a red hot option. Could I get through to you next to talk about Jacob Preston here?
Yeah,
I'll just
yeah,
duck
I
away
was
one
big.
sec.
Yeah, I was big on Jacob Preston in the preseason. I kind of said he could be the best second rower in the game. He's proving me to be in the right ballpark. I mean, he's averaging 57. That's a big plays this year. And what I love about Preston is, well, I'd like to say he's not a chance of origin because second row is where New South Wales is pretty stacked, right? You've got Angus there, you've got Olkawatu, you've got Colin Matangi who can play there, obviously Liam Martin. A bit of a logjam. I'm probably missing names as well. Angus will definitely be there. A couple of other guys will be there or thereabouts. So Preston, I don't think will make the Origin squad. High 50s player. Just Bulldogs really breaking out into a top contender this year. Like last year, they're obviously close to the 4, but this year they look like they could be the ones. Like a surprise packet to start the year. I think Preston can continue this run of form. He's going to have his consistent low 50s games, and he's going to have games where he's got 75, 80. And I don't think a 60 average is out of the cards. So still only 732K. I know he had a slow start to the season, and that scared a lot of coaches, but that's why you can't panic trade after 1 week. I would be happy buying Preston with that Origin schedule because second row, look, obviously Fafita is the one, but after that, Angus will play Origin with the worst Origin player
Mm.
schedule. He'll miss a ton of games, so you don't want to hold him over the Origin period. Hopgood is trash right now. Hudson Young is obviously excellent, and he's another name I forgot to mention. Like he'll probably be in the Origin arena, more than likely. Like not only what is he kind of having, coming off it last year, but he's been amazing this year. So
Mm.
Preston is probably the guy you want over the Origin period in your second row.
Yeah, I mean, he's averaging 57 as well. So you say he started slow, but 57.
Yeah,
That's
yeah, yeah.
fantastic.
I mean, I think he
Um,
just came off a 40
yeah,
in week one, but
yeah,
just goes to show, even with that low score, he's averaging 57. So
yeah. No,
he's
you're
killing it.
spot on there. Huddy Young, I will shout out us for having him on the pod list last week. So he was
Ah,
right there next to a few guys like Leo Thompson with Aaron Clark there as well. Like that pod list last week went
that,
crazy.
mate, if
Um,
we had that pod list in a team, oof, we would be killing it.
Yeah, our pod team doesn't look that good actually compared to that pod
Ah,
list. But Cheapie's up next, and we got Savala here, Halasima, Hunt, Valmanga, and Naden. It's not a great week for Cheapies, and me personally, I'm buying 3 of the 5 guys on the buys list. Like that's my view this week. I'm spending up a bit. 2 of those guys that I'm buying are about 450K, so saving a bit of money there. But for the cheapies, Savala's the first one, and I like the performance from him last week. So the big thing is the Roosters won that game against the Broncos, and it was largely on the back of his kicking game. So he was
yeah,
finding the grass with his long kicking game. He was bombing the crap out of Reece Walsh as well. So Walsh really struggled in those high balls. But for Savala, I think he's their guy. And Sam Walker's out till round 13 to 15. I don't think there's any guarantee that Sam Walker will come into Savala's spot. Like I think there's a chance that Savala plays next to Sam Walker if he continues to play like that and potentially add some attacking plays as well. So stat profile about 500 kick meters, defensive stats, not a lot of attack, but I'm guessing Biz, you're also keen on this guy. Are you buying him this week or are you waiting for next week?
I was on him this week until the Dwayne news came out, and
Mm.
I think I'll just get Dwayne in this week because I think I can rely on him for a bigger score first up. But I love what I saw from Savara. Pinpoint kicking game honestly reminded me a lot of Mitchell Moses with those like high punts and bombs into the corners and kind of just pinning them in their 10 meters. Like Broncos had to work to get out of their kind of zone just because of his kicking game. Really loved what I saw. 50 break even still. So even if he scores 60 points, he's only making 10K, right? So you'll be buying him at 230 to 250 next week anyway. And I think, he's obviously like he averages low 50s in reserve grade, like 52, 53. So great pedigree there. So I think, look, if you're not interested in Dwayne and you need cash, I think you can get him this week to make cash for guys like Feeder, Latrell, whatnot. But I'll wait a week, but he's not a bad option this week either.
Yeah, yeah. No, he's an exciting one, yeah. But next week, I agree with you 100%. Just wait that week, unless you can make a trade this week that really needs 230K player, in which case he has really good job security. Leke Halasima is up next, and I've got Halasima and Valmanga on this list as well. Halasima, I'm not as excited about, and I'm a big Halasima fan. Right, he's a back rower, gets that chance to start in the back row. This week should be fantastic for him. There is a chance that he plays well enough that he secures that role. Like there is absolutely that chance, but I think it's quite a low chance because what we've seen this week is that we've got oh my god, I'm forgetting his name, the back rower. Uh,
Jackson Ford,
no, Ford's at prop.
Capewell, sorry.
Capewell, that's it. I was
Yeah,
thinking Brisbane X Origin. What's his name? Capewell's playing at centre, and we've seen Tuapiki moving to the fullback spot. Nickel Clockstad is out for 1 week with a HIA, and Rocco Berry is out for 1 week with a suspension. So it's a 1 week rental, 321K. You're not even getting him for base price. He's shown a lot of ability playing on the wing and scoring tries. That seems to be where he's getting all his fantasy points. And the issue for me is he's not part of that prop rotation. So for me, the long term value isn't there at all for Halasima unless he plays so well that he locks down a spot. In which case, I would happily pay 350K for him at that point. The other guy, Valmanga, and I'll let you talk about both these guys with me here, but 42 minutes, 47 points last week when Fisher Harris went down with injury. It's a peck, unconfirmed as to length, but usually that's a long time. he is more interesting to me than Halasima, but keen to hear your thoughts on these boys.
I mean, a bit of an unknown, like how it shakes out. I got some big minute guys
Mm.
who can play big minutes. Like, does it? Like, we haven't really spoken about it, but does this finally help get Barnett back into the big minute category? Like, he could be the biggest winner out of all this, right? Like, if he goes back to 65 odd minutes, he could be super discounted. I don't think he's played that well this year to be back in the Origin arena, but he was really good in the Origin arena last year. So they
Yep.
might just hold him there as the incumbent. Um, yeah, I think with both these guys, you just like there's just better options this week. Like
Yeah.
they could pay off for you. Like they kind of remind me of guys like Hamish Stewart, etc., who just you weren't sure of, and they'll just kind of sneakily rise behind under the radar.
Mm.
Could be the case here, but I just think it's a low percentage play getting either of them in this week.
Yeah, I will say Barnett too. He was the sixth pod on my list, so he
Yeah,
didn't actually make the pod list, but
yeah,
I'd need to see something better because he scored that 50 with Fisher Harris going down at the start of the game.
yeah, yeah.
To me, that was enough for me to be like, nah, I want to see something big from him before I buy him. Break even's not that low anyway. Like, give it a week. But Jaden Hunt is another one here. He had a good game the other day. He had a good game. Jezewski is out for 8 to 10 weeks with a broken arm. Piakura is out for one more week with suspension. It then becomes Hunt versus Piakura for that spot. I don't think you need to get Hunt. I really don't think he's an option really at 400k, but we needed a fifth player on this list, and he's one I've been asked about a bit, so I thought I'd mention him. I think he's a no go at that price.
Yeah, I think I'm licking my lips at the thoughts of buying Brendan Piacora next week for like 233k or whatever he is. Him and
Crazy.
Savala will be great cash outs. If you want to spend up, like next week, you can get some cash back. And I think there's some great options next week for cash. So this is a very barren, cheapy list this week.
Yeah.
Obviously, Savala's a good one, but next week should be a really, really good cashy list next week. But yeah, Brent Naden, the last guy on the list. Look, obviously, historically not been a great scorer, but I mean, look at Stafford Tower this year. I mean, Stafford Tower has actually been a decent scorer, but he's just he scores tries every week. He's averaging 50. I don't have him in my team, so it hurts to watch. But great fantasy story from 250k to like 450k. It's just crazy. He just keeps delivering, and Brent Naden could do the same, right? Like I think that's going to be his spot now until at least Latu Fainu comes back. And at base price, if you need a cash out, you need a center. He's could jump on for a few tries versus Parramatta this week. You can get the
Yeah.
ball rolling with the hat trick pretty early and get the break even nice and low. I personally wouldn't do it, but look, this year all the traps are going crazy, so why not?
Yeah, he'd need to get streaky and play well enough to keep the spot because Skelton's back soon, but that probably takes the wing spot. Skelton has played center in the past. Like, I don't know where Fairtape is. I don't think you buy Brent Naden this week, and if you are going to buy Brent Naden, it's kind of on you to do the study there. But I don't think it's the week of the cheapies. I'm with you there completely. So let's jump into pods because there's actually 5 sick pods to talk about here, and Jacob Kiraz in particular. That last one is one I'm being asked about a lot, so keen to dig into him. But Leo Thompson first. This is his second week appearing on the pod list. He was there last week, pumped out a big number this week, went up about 20k. He's 600k now. He's a bit worse of an option now. The thing that counts for him is that he's playing fantastic footy and he's definitely the best prop at the club. And they really don't have another one who they can sort of lean on there, especially with Safidi out with a calf injury. The downside for him is we've got Adam Elliott back in a few weeks' time, Lucas back in a few weeks' time, and Frizzell has now officially moved into the prop rotation. I will say that's a big upgrade for your boy Kant because it means if Frizzell's viewed as a prop now, Kant jumps into that lock role instead of Matt Croker in a couple of weeks' time. Probably just keeps on going for you. But Leo Thompson, 602k. Where do you rate him? Out of 10, give me your excitement level.
8 out of 10. 8 out of 10, I reckon. Maybe
Okay.
7. Like I just think probably 8. Like honestly, at 600k, if he's averaging in like the low mid 50s, it's a good buy. I think Adam Elliott to come back could dampen the situation too, because then if Elliott goes to lock and or can't or is that lock or one of the two will be at lock, right? Like there's minutes being eaten up there. So Fidi will come back eventually, but I think Thompson's a great option in the near term at the very least, and he's taken his game to another level this year. He's still a young guy, high work rate, big minutes. But I mean, if you think about it, he's not that much. Like he's only 80k cheaper than Fafita. So who would you rather take, right? Like so, um, I like the Leo Thompson buy, but I just really wish that we got on him last week, but obviously difficult with 2 trades a week. The 3 trades a week makes him a lot more viable because I think with these fringe guys that are like probably not the front of mind, that but are still really good buys, I think become a lot more actionable. So yeah, could be a good one.
In a more barren year, he would have been top of the buys list, by the way. Like this year's
Yeah,
been
for
crazy,
sure.
but in a tougher year, he's the kind of guy who we definitely would have been going after. Aaron Clark, 60k cheaper, scored a 62 last week, mid 40s for minutes. So I don't love that in a game when Fisher Harris did go down injured, but we know what Aaron Clark can do. And if he could lock down a 55-minute role, which he hasn't, by the way, done so far, but if he could lock that down, he'd be a must have. For me, the minutes are a bit risky, but if you're a team who needs another hooker, and maybe you don't have those hooker options or whatever it is there, I like Aaron Clark for you. But if you don't need the second hooker, then I don't know. There's upside in this one, but there's also the risk that he just keeps playing for 45 minutes. Where do you lean on this one, Biz?
Yeah, I think he didn't get enough minutes with Fisher Harris going down, and obviously Dylan Walker leaving the club. Like he's just going to be a streaky guy. Some games where he's going to go like 1.4 ppm. Some days he'll just go like a 0.8 ppm, and it'll kill his money making. I'm a firm skip on Clark. Another one that I'm less of a firm skip on is Joey Tarpanay. Now he's expensive, but we've seen what he can do, and we've seen that during this origin period, he's like one of the guys that everyone buys most years because he always starts the year slow and then builds into it. I think he's at a competitive price. The thing is, the Raiders pack is a bit stacked this year. They've got Hosking back this week. I suspect what will happen is Hosking starts at lock, Smithy's back to the bench. A lot of guys in that middle rotation, Nicholson and Hudson Young, are kind of playing those 80-minute games. I think both of them have been two of the best second rowers in the game this year. So they're not going to lose many minutes. Hosking was excellent before he got injured. Smithies has been really good off the bench. Obviously, Corey Horsburgh has been pretty damn good this year as well. I worry about his minutes. I think the 55 to 60 minutes is going to drop to a 50-minute role. And we already saw that last week. His minutes were dropping even without Hosking. But Joey Tarpon has just been in great form, doesn't play Origin. Definitely will be a buy at some point in the next 5 weeks. If you've got that extra trade for him, now's not a bad time.
Yeah, it's a big price though, right? Nearly
Big
800k.
price.
It's
Yeah,
for me, it's a bit too expensive. Like that's kind
yeah,
of I look at him and I just feel like he's the kind of guy who, like you said, if Horsburgh goes back into the prop rotation, he comes out and scores you a 41 this week. Like you're gonna be really disappointed at that price.
yeah,
Whereas if
yeah.
you paid, bought him a couple of weeks ago, you'd be pretty stoked. But Origin period, like you said, is fantastic for him. It's just a bit murky. Like I just think there's other options that are much better value. Nicho
Yeah.
Hynes significantly cheaper than Tarpanay as well. And I'll let you talk about Hynes here because you were eyeing him off pretty closely until we got gifted some absolutely golden buys this week.
Yeah, I mean, I have Hines in my halves right now, but I'll probably reverse that out to get Dwayne. But look, I think Nico Hines, he's priced at mid 50s. Like now, his timeshare with Trindle is priced in. I think people are sour on Hines just because they're like, "Oh, Trindle kills him." I mean, yeah, Trindle absolutely kills him from a 70 average. It doesn't kill him from 55s to 40s. Like he's kind of chugging along at a 53 average. That's in like he's honestly not playing that well. Like we've seen, like he can improve for sure. I think he'll get better as the season goes on. I think look, he's a great option. Obviously, not going to play Origin. I think the thing with Nico is even if he's sharing kick meters and things like that with Trindle, like we've seen games where he can score 90, 100, like even 120. Even if you take out 10 points from kick meters, and I think he's averaging, like, I looked at the stats, he's losing, quite a few points from kick meters, but that's coming off, mid 60s to high 60s averages. I think there's no reason he can't, if he finds a bit of form, average in the high 50s or low 60s. Um, so I think he's good value here. Is he a lot of value? Probably not. But he's a guy like kind of I talk about like catching the bag before everyone else. Like you want to be on him for the 80, 85, 90, rather than trying to get him the week after. Like it's the same thing as the Fafita situation last week. Like you wanted to be on Fafita last week, but the 90, right? And you would have had to make a real contrarian ballsy call to do it. That's why I kind of got Reece Walsh last week and why I'm thinking of Nicho Hynes this week. Let's see how it pans out. Might not end up in my squad, but I think he's a good pick.
I'm with you, dude. That's why I went Latrell last week. You got to go on these guys and give yourself a shot at that ceiling play. I think he's a red hot option. So you're absolutely right. Last couple of weeks, no attacking stats basically at all. He's been pumping out that 40 to 60 area. He's gonna have those big games like you said, 739k every week. I think, oh, could I make a way to get Nicho Hynes? Like I'm with you. I'm thinking about it every single week, and I haven't found a week where it's happened yet, but it will happen before the Origin period, 100%. And if you've got too much money to spend this week, I don't mind it, but I like some of the other options better. Jacob Kiraz is the last one here, and I'm getting asked a lot about Kiraz. Now, look, the plus side is Kiraz is a beast, absolute unit, loves an offload. The Bulldogs are playing better footy now. Burton comes back as well. Their attack should open up. He's an absolute unit. The upside there as well is the Origin period is pretty strong for the Dogs. So they have a really good Origin schedule, but that's kind of where the upside ends here. Because the downside is that one, if he plays well enough, he's going to be in Origin contention. So Zach Lomax is likely going to be unfit for the first Origin game. Jacob Kiraz is probably the next winger up for the Blues. I can't think of too many other guys that will contend for that spot. So Kiraz could be a winger. And thinking about Kiraz and To'o, by the way, like Kiraz and To'o, they would be so dangerous out of the backfield. But Dylan Edwards, like Queensland aren't going to stop that back three. So I think that's actually really attractive for the Blues, and that's really bad for you as a fantasy coach. And you also throw in the fact that he's coming back off a back injury. And I just don't like guys with back, calf, or hamstring injuries. Like they are just too recurring. They come up out of nothing. Like as someone who's had back injuries myself, it's just not fun. So for me, I'm a no on Kiraz. I will look at him around round 11. Like that's when I'll think about it. But for now, I just think he's like a slightly cheaper Ruben Garrick. Not that interesting to me.
No, I don't get the hype. He's a great player, and I've had Kiraz like pretty much every year over the last few years since he came onto the scene. But he's 635k. Like if he was 500k, I get it. But 635, like he costs more than Leo Thompson. So there's no way I'd be doing that trade. So like heaps of people are getting on Kiraz. I don't fully understand it. But power to you. You gotta do what you gotta do.
It's your team. It's your team, right? He's your pod, maybe. But yeah, not a bad option. Then Holds, Bo Firma is the first one here. And this is an expensive list, by the way. Or it was an expensive list a couple of weeks ago. But yeah, Bo Firma is the first one here, 640k. And look, he's dropped a bit of cash recently. But if you're a Bo Firma owner, rest assured knowing that both Biz and I are watching Bo Firma and waiting for the moment to buy. Like he is an absolute stud at the center spot. When he plays in the back row, he averages 50 plus. Usually at center, he can go all right as well. This last couple of weeks has been brutal for you, but it's not been working in real life. Like he was being exposed at center and defensively, and he's a much better player in the back row than he's at the center spot. They also have Cam Pereira coming back in the next week or so too. So for mine, if you've got Bo Firma, look, you're going to cop a bit of a cash loss this week, but he's one of the best centers in fantasy. Stick with him. Don't trade him out. Definitely don't use him to trade to Fafita. Find another way instead, because Firma is definitely going to be in the best 17 more often than not over the next few weeks' time. So I think he's a rock solid hold this week.
Yeah, I'm excited to get Fermor and Lucas straight into my team in the next few weeks. Like lock up a pair. Like you got Shibasaki and Toa at the bottom here, which we'll talk about. They're my centers. Like these guys are going to become Lucas and Fermor very soon. So yeah, and then Matty Nicholson, I think, look, he's been playing excellently. I touched on it a bit earlier when I was talking about Preston Hudson-Young and the kind of whole Raiders situation with Tarpanay as well. So I think Nicholson's been one of the best second rows in the comp this year. He's come out. He didn't get named round one. Apparently was a bit underdone. A lot of guys in the preseason, a lot of influencers or whatnot were hyping him up. Hype was real. I mean, he's been excellent. He's been scoring tries. He looks like a strong runner of the ball. He tackles pretty well. I don't think, like, even with Hosking back, Nicholson either plays at lock. Like he played a lot of time at lock last week, or he just keeps staying on the edge. He's still going to get big minutes. Still got a good break even. Like even last week with the HIA, which was rubbish, by the way. Like he totally should have been robbed out after that HIA. Like the guy was like a lollipop for 30 seconds. So that HIA ruling to get him back on the field was crazy to me.
And then the junk time try as well. As a non-Nicholson owner,
you can tell we're not owners.
Yeah,
100%. That rubbish. Like, he should have been robbed out in the 11th minute. But look, I think the show goes on for him. I think he'll be there, and he'll be an 80-minute second row over the Origin period anyway. With Hudson Young, like pretty much a definite for the squad. So you hold him. You see how it goes with Hosking this week. I think it impacts other people. I don't think it impacts Nicholson's minutes. If anything, he goes from 80 minutes to 70 minutes. He's still good value at that price.
And if it does impact him, by the way, break even's fine, and the upside is massive. So,
Yeah.
like for a guy, he's a pom with a great buy schedule. Doesn't have a buy till round 15. The upside is huge on Nicholson. He can score 90 points as well. Like you just got to keep guys like that. You know, sticky fingers is what I've been talking about. Like have sticky fingers with these Canberra players. Like just hold on to them a little bit longer than you need to, and just give them an extra chance. And I'm going to contradict myself when we get to the
Yeah,
sales
I'm pretty sure
section,
you
but
have a. Yeah, I'm pretty sure you have a Raider in your cells. But anyway, we'll get to that.
it's a bit different. It's a bit different. But Kalen Ponga's up next, and this is a tricky one. So, look, non-Ponga owner here. I've been watching him play, and it's crazy what's happening. Like they're having set after set on the opposition defensive line, and Ponga's just not touching the ball. And then when he does, he's stepping into first receiver so that he can distribute for Jack Cogger and for other like players
Phoenix
like
Crossland.
Tyson Gamble this week, and he's playing that first receiver role, which is scoring no points because he catch and pass, and it's just a waste. And there's not that much he can do differently in that scenario. And the few times he has gotten the ball out wide, he's created a bunch of space, but it feels like they're now out of touch because he's not playing out there. So there was a play against Tigers last week where he was on the right side and he skipped out and he created space and no one ran with him and ran into a hole. It's like they've sort of forgotten how to play together at this point. So I think the fact that they've changed their halfback 3 times in 2 times in 2 weeks tells me that they're probably not happy with him being the distributor as well. And they're probably thinking, hey, Tyson Gamble, come on down. We've only seen this 8 times before. Maybe the 9th time is the charm, and maybe you can sort of play that steering 7 role. I actually do like Tyson Gamble, by the way. I'm talking smack, but I actually do like Tyson Gamble a lot. I think he'll come in, he'll be a dog. Hopefully he can take that first receiver role and we can see Ponga get the ball in a bit more space. Fletcher Sharp as well, because those guys are good footy players. Like their attack shouldn't be scoring 10 points in 3 weeks. So my view
That's
is
crazy to me.
it's going
Crazy
to
to me.
turn around, man. It's going to turn around, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So you go, yep.
They'll click. They'll click. No, I was going to say like 100% turnaround. It'll click. Like Lucas will come back, adds a lot. They got such that left edge with Lucas when he's fit, Bradman Best, Marzu, Ponga sweeping, like Fletcher Sharp running around. Like you tell me, like how is that only scoring like 0 to 10 points a game? It's ridiculous. Like it's going to turn.
10 in
They'll
2
click
weeks.
eventually.
3.3 a game.
That's crazy. Like they were supposed to be an offensive juggernaut this preseason, and honestly, just don't know. I mean, it'll click eventually, and I'm going to be buying Ponga soon. I know Origin's coming is tricky, but at 656k, if he's a buy, he's a hold. And like so, at 650 at the start of the season, if you're buying Ponga for 650k, which you would be, like then you're just holding. Like, why sell him at the bottom? Like we've seen already, he's got a 62 and an 82 this year. So don't let a couple of bad scores zone you out. I'd be holding.
Yep, 100%. And you've taken the bad scores already. Like you've taken those. You've copped that. You've got 3 weeks of sub 30 scores.
Yeah.
You can't erase those. Like your trade will feel good, but it won't do anything for you. He comes out and scores 100 this week, and you copped all the bad scores. You didn't get the good one. Us guys who don't have Ponga, we're laughing, right? So you need to be stubborn and stick onto him. Then Shibasaki, he's your boy here, Biz. You've done great with Shibasaki, by the way. 458k now. He's making cash hand over fist. Are you starting him this week?
Yeah, Purdue's on the bye this week, so I'll be starting Shibasaki. Yeah, good buy for me. Last one pick this year, made 158k. I didn't get Tamale, but Shibasaki did Tamale's job for me. And I missed Stafford Toa, but hopefully I can find someone to replicate that. Look, I think he's running against Capewell this week, who's like a notoriously he's a good player, but he's an arm grabber in defense at times. And I think Shibasaki has proven he's a bit of a tackle buster this year. And I think Broncos and Reece Walsh, I think they're going to really exploit that edge this week. I think they'll bounce back after last week, like a bit of a shock loss versus the Roosters at home. I think Madge will give them an absolute rocket. I think the big boys, Haas and Carrigan and all that, will get together and be like, don't know what happened there. We copped a bad loss. They'll be back on track this week. I wouldn't be surprised if we see a humming Broncos side and Shibasaki for a double this week, I hope.
Wow, double. Okay, a bit greedy. A bit greedy of you there. You already got your 40
Greedy.
points last week.
Look, I want a good score from him, but to be honest, I want a good score from him, but like I kind of want to trade him soon. Like, I want
Yeah.
to get a Furmore in. I want to get a Lucas in. So just make a bit more money, but like just
Slow
eventually, I want
down.
his break even to be high enough to trade because I just
Yeah.
can't. I've got to keep holding him. In my head, I was going to trade him like 3 weeks ago. He just keeps coming along.
Keeps on
So
going.
I'll take another 40. Give me another 40, and then I can trade you next week.
Man, imagine if in like round 3 buy hold sell, I said to you that you'd be saying Purdue's on a buy, so I'm going to start Shibasaki. Like imagine thinking back to that.
Oh, what
It's
a
it's
year!
so beautiful. It's
What a
beautiful.
year!
Jackson Purdue, I love that he was in my starting side this week too. This is a
Oh,
banging
that's
score.
crazy. I
So
had
good,
like 370 plus scores in my NPR last week, like
bro.
Egan, Purdue.
You copped it.
At least I made the money, whatever.
You should be on the Discord, man. I was telling everyone start Purdue and start Egan. Like,
Well,
come
I
on.
was asleep when Egan got moved to the starting side,
Even
so
on
it
the
was like
bench.
3
Even
a.m.
on the
in New
bench.
York. I know,
He's the
but I
goat.
would have had to start him. I would have had to start him over Seyfarth, and in
Oh,
hindsight, I should have.
yeah.
Seyfarth is guard, but yeah,
Safe,
anyway,
yeah. Yeah, that's a hard one then. And then Rob
yeah,
Toya, last one here,
yeah.
432k, similar price to Shibasaki. Look, we're both Toya believers. We talked about this offline. I just think he's an absolute weapon of a player. He's a young center. The attacking stats will come. We haven't really seen a breakout like try scoring game from Toya yet. And he's already averaging around that 40 points. So, I look at him and I just think, yeah, I'm going to stick with this guy. And the fixture this week isn't too bad either. He's got the
NRL.
2025 wooden spoon as the Panthers.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just looking. Has he even scored a try yet? He hasn't. He hasn't scored a try, and he's averaging 39 at
That's what
center
I'm
in
saying,
a
man.
team coming like third last or something. Keep him. What
Hmm.
he could be like this year's like Iro kind of thing, or Euro. Sorry if I
Well, Euro
pronounced it
didn't
wrong,
score a
but
try for ages, like, or he had
yeah,
one
and
in eight
like
games or something. Yeah.
yeah, and then you're seeing this year the tries are all coming back to him, and he was
Hmm.
killing it before he got hurt. I think, and he's got a superb buy schedule, Rob Toya. I think you
Yeah.
hold him till the end of the bye season. I think he can average 40, 45 consistently with upside. Like, there's going to be a game where he scores a try or two. Like, we've seen how good he is, and he'll score 60. I mean, he's started, like, he's playing Penrith, and then we already saw what he did against Penrith kind of right at the start of the season. So, yeah, I'd be holding him for sure.
Will he be up against Ghana? I'm trying to think. Tungo
Tango plays on the
left or the right?
right.
Okay, so he's not going to be up against Ghana.
The right.
Um,
Yeah, he
yeah,
plays on the right.
yeah. Okay, so like I was going to say, if he's up against Ghana, that speed advantage is going to be huge. But regardless, Panthers are leaking. Casey McLean,
No,
like
Casey
I
McLean is
think he
not that
can.
much better. Yeah.
Yeah, I think he can cook Casey up in this game. And defensively, he can handle himself too because he'll watch the film and seen that Casey doesn't like Jenkins at all, so
Doesn't, yeah,
he just staying
exactly.
on defense.
He
But
doesn't have to worry. Yeah, just
yeah,
mark Casey. He's not going to pass either side.
it's like Div 3 mixed Oz tag back in the day. He's not going to pass. Hit him. And I
Yeah,
didn't pass. That's why they were yelling that.
yeah,
But
yeah, yeah,
Martin
exactly.
Wanikwase is top of the cells list. And this cell section, by the way, these are all super debatable. So we're going to share both sides. It's just working down a list, really. When you go through holds and sells, there are just some options here this week that you have to buy, and you have to find a way to sell guys. So guys like Sandon and Tamale, for example, I don't think that they're desperate sells at all. But for me to get Dwayhe, for me to get Walsh, these types of guys that I want to get, I have to do it. Now, Noang Tuase is the first one. Great player. He's playing this week because Billy Smith is out suspended for 1 week. Presumably, he drops out of the team after that. You could hold him a week for sure and see what happens, but I think he's a pretty easy sell at this point. Any debate there, Biz?
I don't know. I mean, I sold him 2 weeks ago because I didn't have a fullback, and he hasn't played the last 2 weeks, so it was a good sell then. I don't know if I'd sell now. I actually think I would, if you've kept him for the last 2 weeks, I would hold him. I actually think he'll score pretty well this week running at Ghana. And then I also think that if he goes back to the wing next week, I think Dom Young has been the guy that they keep saying will get dropped. If that's the case that Dom Young gets dropped, I actually think Noah Nganito Wase will do better at wing. He seems to be that kind of guy who will run the ball a lot more, have a lot more attacking setups. Like center, I've noticed this year is just kind of a bit more of a hit, neither here nor there position. Like it's actually really hard because you're not really finishing the tries and you're not running the ball as much as your wingers. Like in the modern day, wingers touch the ball a lot more. So I actually think for Noanga Nitawase, wing is a better position for him. And in the reserves, in a lot of his wing performances, he scored 50, 60, 70 from like 180 meters, bunch of offloads and tackle busts. Like, I actually think that he could be a 45-point player at the wing. So I'd be holding him this week personally.
Give him a shot. I've got to debate you there though, because he travelled with the team as 18th man last week, so he was fit
Yeah.
enough to travel as 18th man.
Yeah.
Didn't get picked over Young. I don't see any reason why he would be picked over Young going forward. Like, Young has played the same footy all year, right? So and they won that game as well against the Broncos. So why would they be
Yeah.
dropping a guy? Like, I just don't see any reason why he'd be the winger. But yeah, in a perfect world, if we didn't have these buy options this week, you could hold him on
Yeah.
1 week and see what happens. I just think of
Yeah.
this list, I'd sell him before I sold Tamale, probably before I sold Sandon as well. So
Will you? I mean, up against Ghana, you don't think he could go big this week?
that's a good point. Yeah, maybe with the loophole, we do have a loophole. We have a double loophole as well. Purdy, you can run him at center starting too,
Yeah.
and then
Yeah.
you move Kautonga into the starting edge spot, and then you eliminate your center. Yeah, okay, I see that appeal. I see that appeal. You could hold him and run him because Sandon Smith's the next one here. Uh, Sandon has had a fantastic year in real life. Like, he's played really good footy this year. His running game's been unreal. He scored like 3 tries in 6 games. He's got try assist across the board as well. Has not cracked 50 a single time. I think he's a bit overrated as a scorer. And he's a guy that, transparently, I have never really considered for my 17 when I've had more than 2 emergency options. Like, he's kind of down the bottom of my list. So for me, 418k, he'll probably bounce up a bit higher than this. Like, he's doing a bit more kicking and all that next to Savala, but he's not going to crack 500, and you need to make moves this week. And if you can go Sandon Smith out for Dwayhe, for me, it's a go this week, and it bumps up my scoring profile by about 30 points this round.
Yeah, I think that's an easy one. I think Savala's also proven that he can handle the bulk of the kick meters. So didn't get the, maybe it was worth waiting and seeing if Sandon ate up the kick meters with Townsend gone, but he didn't. So he's an easy sell this week. I think Tamale is a pretty interesting one. Like,
Mm.
Tamale has kind of been up and down this year. I think he's been great, but now at the 438k mark, I think it's time to move him on. I think there's better options. He's kind of entering the mid-range levels. I think, yeah, like Dwayne for not much more than that could average 20 plus more on him. I think Tamale to Dwayne into your centers is a great trade. Look, he's got great. I mean, he's not, like you said at the start of this section, like, he's not an urgent sell at all. Like, I still
Mm.
think there's meat on that bone, and I still think he's going to get better as the year goes on. And Raiders are playing really well. So you've got that dual position, great buy schedule, no buys till 15, like you said. So not an urgent sell, but at that price, like you said, with so many good options, like, he could be one you move on.
Yeah, he's the optional trade for me. So I look at that and I go, all right, Tamale for Walsh. Do I think Walsh goes nuclear versus the Warriors this week? Tamale, I don't trust him as a starter anymore. Like, watching Ethan Strange, Seb Chris, Hudson Young all run in tries and have massive attacking stats and not really look out to Tamale at all on that edge against Parramatta, who don't really defend the wing in general. It was pretty
Or
wild
anywhere
to
else.
me. Yeah, yeah. So I just think, like, that was the perfect game for Tamale, and I don't know, he could totally burn us because he's an absolute monster. And if he gets his hands on the ball a bit more, he'll go and score like a 50 average across a run. Like, he will absolutely do that. But it's just like, do I want to go to Walsh? Do I want to keep a guy who I'm not considering for my 17, or go to Walsh who I think could go nuclear against the Warriors? I need to make up points. Like, I'm looking to try and chase that number 1 spot, ideally, as we all are. I want to go for that nuclear option, right? So to me, it's a move I'm going to make. But again, in a perfect world, we wouldn't be selling Tamale. Jermaine
No,
Hopgood's a
yeah.
tricky one though, man, and I'll throw this one to you.
Yeah, because I got him.
Where are you?
Yeah, I can talk through him. I think he's a guy you could sell for sure. I mean, I just don't like this hybrid 20-25 minute hooker roll into 30 minutes at lock is not great. Like, last year, he had an exact even timeshare with Madison. Like, there was a 50-50 timeshare. So it was actually extremely positive that this week they didn't take Hopgood off. And like, what happened in the first week was Hopwood started at hooker, Guymer stayed on, Hopwood just went straight off and didn't come back. This week, Hopgood came on as the hooker at the start of the game. He stayed on for 47 minutes, came off, but never came back on, like Madison said on the field.
Mm.
And reports are, I didn't actually see this myself. I was too busy crying during the game. But like he had an interchange card ready to come back with 15, 20 to go apparently. So he could have actually played up to, 57, 60 minutes. But I think they were getting trashed, so they just never sent him back on. I don't know if that's true. I'd have to go watch the replay because I wasn't, like I said, my head was in the tissues. But look, I think he's a guy I'd hold. I mean, Guyman's not there this week, so hopefully, fingers crossed, that means whatever the hooker experiment is going on, like it's not working. Like Hopgood is not a great passer of the ball off the ground. He's not running the ball, and he's our best forward. Like he's probably only respectable forward in our side that's starter quality. So I don't know why you'd take him out of that running game, offloading game, just to tire him out tackling in the middle.
Yep.
So Riles is like, obviously give him time as a coach, but he's made some real questionable decisions. And this is probably at the top of the list. I'm holding in the hopes that this garbage is over. Like there was just a flash in the pan. That's never happens again. If it happens again this week, maybe I'll trade him. But the thing is with Hopgood, I'd rather trade guys like Seyfarth and Tamale and Sander and these guys. Because Hopgood could still come out this week and score a 60. Those guys probably will not. I mean, Seyfarth could score a try against the Eels, but I'm still back in Hopgood, dual position, pretty much playing himself out of an origin spot. Like, it's not going to happen right now. So be good over the origin period. Moses coming back could help. Just get direction. Just like get the thing right now is like we don't have. How is Moses coming back going to help Hopgood? We're just like positioning on the park, having more sets, less errors, more ball in play, better field position. Those things should add up. So I'm keeping Hopgood this week. Maybe I'm biased. Also like a pod, so why not? Hopefully he comes out and scores a try and 60 points this week. But it's getting harder and harder to believe in. He could be a firm sell for me next week, but I'll give him the benefit of the doubt.
Yeah, you nailed it. You absolutely nailed it. For as a non-owner, I'm watching him and thinking, all right, when does this turn around? Because last week, like you said, that hooker roll is not good. 0 tackle busts, 0 offloads, like 50 meters run. It's not going to happen. That's not going to happen again. And if Hopgood is any sort of man at all, he's going to be coming into this Tigers game and thinking, look at Terrell May right now. That man is living my potential, right? And he's going to take that challenge personally. So I reckon we see Hopgood go back to his normal role this week and step up. But that's my biased parafan speaking. My actual fantasy coach is a bit more concerned with the fact that the minutes are dropping every week. They're not bringing him back on to try and turn things around. Like, there's a lot of...
And he hasn't been good. Like, let's face it. Like, they're not bringing him back on because he's just not playing well either. Like, he is not getting a get out of free jail mark here. Like he's also been garbage this year, so he needs to pick it up.
Yeah, but he will. Like 682k. I mean, yeah, that's where it turns around, right? Because you look at this and you go, right, you've got limited spots in your roster. You probably don't have that many guys who are easy sells. You want Dave Fafita. Hopgood to Fafita is super easy, very straightforward.
Yeah. I don't know. So, the two of them to me could still end up at the top of the second row this year. So it's a hard one. I mean, like you said, you got to keep moving this year. And if Hopgood's the guy that has to go, so be it. I still think he could give you good returns, but that's probably just me being a blind, faithful guy.
I'll say sell. I'll say sell.
I'll say hold.
Yeah. Because like Kelmer's come in, I was sort of thinking maybe they play Hopgood on the edge, and just try to get him playing every single position this year. But it's a bit of a mess. Tough one there for Hopgood. I think you sell him. Biz thinks you hold him. He'll probably come out and score 70 this week. I hope he does as a para fan because I want him to turn around.
Yeah.
And then Luke Metcalf's the last one here, 503k. I think this one's pretty straightforward. Metcalf is between a 25 and a 60 generally scorer. Last week he saved his score with a very late try once the game, it's about half an hour after the game was over, just right at the end there. So at 503k, you don't need to have FOMO. He's not going to get that much more expensive than this. You're not really trusting him as a scorer in your 17. They're missing Fisher Harris now, so their go forward's going to be a bit weaker as well. Like, I just look at this and think, a matchup against Brisbane will be fired up, like you said. It's time to go for Metcalf, and at 500k, it's super easy to move him to a Dwayhe or one of these other options we talked about.
Yeah, I think Metcalf, he averages more than he's worth, but the way his profile is, it's spotty. It's like 20 and 45 and 60 and 20. That's like fine over the long run, but in terms of a moneymaker, it doesn't work because the 20 just kills all your money making. And so, like, I was a Metcalf believer for sure this preseason. Even when I sold him to get Humphreys after week one, I was like, I want to get him back in, but somehow that was the right call. So yeah, look, sell Metcalf.
Selling Metcalf. All right. Bang, bang, bang. That's us done and dusted for buy, hold, sell. So to sum up my trades for this week, I'm looking at a few things, but predominantly what I'm considering doing is, and I hate to say this, I'm probably selling Munster to get Fafita. I know it burns, but he just hasn't shown any sign of life. And those missed tackles are
Yeah,
brutal. So selling Munster, I'm selling Sandon Smith, and then I'm thinking about selling Tamale. So three guys who I haven't really been able to trust. I'm buying Dave Fafita, I'm buying Adam Dwayhe, and I'm buying Reece Walsh. I like the matchups, and I think those guys, yeah. And I look at my team after that and just go, oh yeah, that's a team. Like Latrell Mitchell, Jaden Campbell, Reece Walsh at the wing fullback spot. It is tantalizing because all those guys could absolutely explode. So that's where I'm going. What are you thinking here, Biz?
hey, we're going to end up with a very similar team. I mean, there's four guys I'm considering this week. It's Hynes, Trell, Dwayhe, Fafita. Fifth guy, actually, I should think Savala if I need that balancer.
Mm,
And I've got a few guys that I could trade out, like Seyfarth's one, Starling is one. Nothing wrong with Starling. I just think that now in a 55, 60-minute role, he's pretty much peaked. There's not much more meat on that bone. Seyfarth is just kind of like Metcalf, just too spotty to really make more money than this. Like he's going to have your big scores and then just kill his score, like runs
yeah,
with the low one. And then I was going to sell Yongi, but like now with Moses back, I don't know.
bit of a
I'll
pod
have to
at this
revisit the
point
board.
too.
Yeah. He's
Yeah.
just I don't
Also
know. I don't know how much.
loophole next week. Like that's pretty nice. At wing
Yeah,
fullback.
yeah, yeah. I just have like a lot of other guys that I'd rather keep than Yongi at this point, especially because
Mhm.
I want to shore up my fullback spot. I'd love to get in Latrell and Campbell and Walsh in my back three too. I've got Campbell and Walsh. I just need to get Trell. But Teddy's an interesting option too, but I'll go digging. I mean, the way he optionality is kind of. I think he goes into my halves pretty easily. I think he can score 55 plus.
Yeah.
And yeah. Oh,
All right.
and last thing on Dwayne actually is that NRL physio is kind of bullish on him 2 years after the ACL sort of thing,
Mm-hmm.
or like the post recovery or whatever. So he should be back to full strength now as well. So hopefully that's good for him. He's still pretty young. But yeah, that's me for buy hold sell this week. I'll be away next 2 weeks, guys. I know Longy. I don't know if you're going to replace me. I don't know if I'll get my spot back. I'll have to be fighting for this spot again while I'm away. I'm getting married next week, like everyone. So if you're still even here after 52 or 53 minutes listening to this, I'm impressed. But I'll be away for my wedding next week, so 2 weeks off. And
Mate,
Longy will, I'm sure, find someone better than me, and you'll never see me again.
no, whenever you go away, even for a week, everyone just spams the comments like, "Longy, get out of here. We only want Biz." Like, we want
I'm
Biz's
sure.
vibes.
I'm
We want
sure.
the vibe picks. Like we want Thomas Kent 2.0. Who's Biz's pod this week? Like that's all I get. So, mate, you'll be begged
Uh,
for. You'll be begged for an upgrade in your contract will be coming through after this
I
two
still
weeks off.
remember recording that dozy of a podcast in torrential rain in Scotland last year. It was like around 25, 26. I
At
don't know
that
if we
point of
had
the
any
year, man, it's
yeah,
it's it's
yeah.
all
I don't
vibe.
know if we had any viewers back at that point of the year, but yeah, could be on. But no, it's a good session, Longy, and I'll see everybody in a few weeks.
Bang. All right, cheers, Biz, for jumping on. Everyone, good luck with your trades this week. Drop a comment what trades you're thinking if you're still here, and we'll see you guys on the next one. Peace out.